What up, YouTube? It's your boy Banks, and we back in the building. You feel me? It's True Talks, cause True Talks. All right, let's get straight right into it. So you already know, obviously, and man, like there's been a lot of just been a lot of narratives going along with the Los Angeles Lakers. First thing, obviously, we know that LeBron has re-signed for a lump sum, basically 2 years, 100. It's around their ballpark, but that's basically elite, especially at his age that he's at, the season, you know, that he's actually at in terms of how many seasons he's played in the league. Like, that's elite to do as an individual. That's probably like, that might be a first. Probably is a first for that age, that type of money, you know what I mean? To get that type of contract, like, and to still have that kind of cachet and still be known as a reputable force and just you know, top people still have him as top five. Like, he's still, in terms of LeBron James, still, is that guy in terms of just what people see, what we see on the court individually. But now, when you now put it into a team concept and understanding, okay, what can the Lakers really do in the West? Coming off of a season where they didn't even make the play-in, rightfully so. Anthony Davis was injured for most of the year, but even when he wasn't injured, they were struggling to find the mesh. Russell Westbrook was also integrated into that new lineup. They had Melo, they had a lot of guys, and they just were struggling to actually find the balance of offense and defense, balance of fit, balance of, who's going to play, who's not going to play the roles. And I kind of seen that coming, especially coming into the season. Everybody was like, yo, this team, all the Hall of Fame names that they have. And I'm like, it's not just about names, yo. Like, you guys have to understand about play styles. Like, one, and this is not a knock on anybody, is just understanding what elite looks like. You have to understand the game from a authentic perspective and not be biased in terms of who you like, who you love. Just understand the game, and the game will tell you who is who. And that's always been my motto. Like, right? It's about the game first and everything else second. So when you look at it from that perspective, like, yes, LeBron is elite. Yes, LeBron is, top five greatest of all time. Yes, LeBron is on Mount Rushmore. Yes, LeBron, you know what I mean? However you rank him, that's, opinion based and all that type of stuff, stats. He's a stat sheet stuffer. Like, he's probably going to end up being the most dominant stat player that the game has ever seen in terms of, like, all overall, right? The assists, 30,000, and you got the points and the rebounds. Like, he's going to do something that no one has ever done, right? By the time his career is actually finished, right? Maybe might even play with his son. Like, there's so many things, just things that, like, are video game like in terms of longevity that he actually will probably accomplish, right? And he already has to this point. So there's nothing that you take away from his career. That's just say that out the gate, because, a lot of people will, when you say some truth, they're going to find, oh my God, you hate. Like, it's just about perspective. At this point in LeBron's career, even not even at this point, ever since LeBron, like, again, if you follow me on IG, I've been posting, like, to me, my favorite LeBron is the first Cleveland stint LeBron. That's where, like, he was just playing. He wasn't kind of like overthinking. There wasn't that narrative of, you have to win a ring now. It was just about being the best version of yourself and just going out there and hooping. That's when LeBron was shot creator Bron. Like, that's when he was literally, like, he was moving like a brolic T-Mac. Honestly, like, he was coming off pin downs. He was as he pull in. He was, he actually didn't even go to the paint all the time like blow by. Yes, he did. And yes, in transition, with his speed and his force and just athleticism, head at the rim, that cock back, one hand punch pause. When you just looked at him just in a half court setting, he was also playing in the era where there was, like, a power forward could somewhat shoot, but if he could shoot, it's not necessarily 3-point line. It's going to be at the midi. Your center can maybe shoot. It's going to be at the midi, but there's always going to be two bigs kind of clogging the paint. LeBron was playing the four, playing the three, wasn't really playing the four. He was a true, T-Mac, Carmelo, like those guys back then, right? Like a true small forward with a bag. And he was literally, like, coming off pin downs. Like I said, he was playing off the ball because Eric Snow, he was with, has to run the ball. If Eric Snow is off the ball, he's not spacing the floor. Like, guys were playing their positions. So LeBron was playing his position. Yes, he will ball handle off the rebound in certain moments and ISO, but they'll give it to him at the high block. Then he'll face up, go to work. Like, he wasn't just bringing up the ball, running PNR and just holding the ball and having a high usage and playing a one-dimensional way. He played in a multifaceted type of way, which is why that was my favorite Bron, because he just was, it was just fluid. It was just, it wasn't like I'm thinking. He was running plays. He was in a system. You know what I mean? Like, he was actually, like, his skill set was shining. And so if that Bron was implemented with this Lakers, Russell Westbrook would have never looked as bad as he looked. And even Russell Westbrook looking bad to the standard of other point guards is not even bad. But, obviously to what you know him to be, triple-double Westbrook, right? You know him to be a certain type of caliber. He obviously was a shell of himself to the type of caliber Russell Westbrook to be. And it's not that Russell Westbrook is ass, right? Obviously, you're going to look at a montage and see him hit the side backboard, get air balls and all that type of stuff. Like, you could do that. You could highlight that, obviously. But the reason why, and this is the same thing, it comes full circle to Ben Simmons, which is why Ben Simmons is going to shut a lot of niggas up this year. You know what I'm saying? Ben Simmons, when he was playing alongside with Embiid, when you're having a play style clash, and I highlight this all the time, like, when you lack certain amount of skill, this is why the KDs, the Kyries, even Steph, like, guys like this who can operate, Klay Thompson, like, especially, like, when you look at KD, like, on that superstar magnitude, like, his points per game doesn't really drop. It's always in a certain elite category. His efficiency is always in a certain elite category, regardless of what his usage rate is going to be. Not only that, the guy who he's playing with, who is limited, will always thrive. He played with Kyrie. The man had 50, 40, 90. He played with Russell Westbrook. The man had his best seasons. He played with, Harden. Obviously, Harden was coming off the bench, but even when he played with Harden with the Nets, Harden was still in an MVP candidate situation when he first got there. You know what I'm saying? He's played with Steph. Steph is still being Steph. Like, guys are still themselves when KD plays with them, and KD is still himself, even though he's not just bringing up the ball. Obviously, when those guys are now removed, look at when he was in the playoffs and mans were injured, Harden and Kyrie, or when his MVP season when Russell Westbrook was injured. You know what I'm saying? You could see him go to a whole new echelon, and that's why people are like, oh my God, KD, we want 60, we want this, that. But it's like, he doesn't need to, because his skill set is so fluid and so unlimited, and he has no weakness, that he could play spot up. He could play off pin downs. He could play off the ball. You see when Paul George complained, oh, I'm just running like a shooter? KD could just run like a shooter off the ball and still score, get the ball with 3 seconds, still pump fake one dribble pull. Like, it doesn't matter. His rhythm is always there because his skill is so different. And that's something that people don't understand. And that's why when KD plays with Team USA, when KD plays with Golden State, when KD plays with OKC without any shooters like Roberson, Cephalosha's there, only a bucket shooting middies, Perkins is there as well too. Like, when KD plays with Brooklyn, when KD plays with all these different amount of teams, or go to Rucker Park, it don't matter. Where KD plays, his efficiency is still there, and he's still himself. Nothing drops off because he could play in any system because the skill is potent. He's multifaceted, off the ball, on the ball, PNR, not PNR, spot up, coming off screens. The list goes on. Low post, high post. Like, you could do whatever. I can chill in the corner, go do you. I'm Gucci, 7 for 11 with Golden State, 29 points. Like, stuff like that. So when you look at it from that perspective, guys like Ben Simmons, Russell Westbrook, they're obviously more limited. Even Giannis, right? These guys, when they play in their perfect play style where everybody spaces the floor for me, I have the ball and I could run downhill and I could do what I do, I'm going to be the best version of myself. That now when I'm in that play style and I'm confident and I'm comfortable, anytime I want a bucket, I could go get a bucket in the way I know to get a bucket because the spacing is beneficial. The play styles is beneficial. There's no clash. So now I might shoot now because I don't have to just run into the paint. I know at any time I could do that. So I'm confident. I'm feeling good. Now I'm going to do other shit. Now I could shoot. Now I could hezzy pull up. Now I could, that's what you see Westbrook be having his best shooting seasons. Right? That's why you see now Giannis be like, oh, I'm going to advance my bag. I'm going to do post fades now. I'm going to do anything because at the end of the day, if this isn't falling, I could just run into the paint. I have something I could go to. So I'm confident. Let me try some shit. But if that's not there, you think Giannis is going to be doing post fades? the whole time we're spotting up at 3 and just killing the whole time? No. And that's what Ben Simmons was having when he was with Embiid. I'm in the dunker spot because not only is Embiid clogging the paint and he's posting up, he could shoot, yes, but he's posting up and stuff like that. But when he has the ball or when he needs to score, he's not playing off the ball. He actually has the ball, posting up and doing all of that. So what do I have to do? Now the ball's not in my hands. I'm not doing handoffs with JJ Redick. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. So now I have to play the dunker spot, and now I'm a shell of myself. So now when I do get an open look, I might pass off. Like, I'm not in a comfortable mental space, skill set space, and I'm clashing with a play style alongside with me. So I'm not comfortable at all. And now you look like a shell of yourself. That's what happened with Russell Westbrook. And this is where it now comes full circle to Bron and Russell Westbrook. The Bron, since he went to Miami, after the first Cleveland stint, all that shit wasn't working. He went to Miami. They made Miles Chalmers be a spot up. Wade obviously sacrificed and let LeBron bring up the ball basically almost every play. You know what I'm saying? And now LeBron, that worked. That blueprint worked where our 4 or 5 can shoot. Chris Bosh. Obviously, maybe Birdman is there sometimes. Joel Anthony is there sometimes. Haslam still could shoot at the midi. But for the most part, Bosh isn't just posting up. He's sacrificing. He's playing an off-ball shooter, catch and shoot role. So now I have more paint space because Wade is not just catching and shooting like that. We need more paint space for both of us. So Wade could do his random cuts, etc., etc. So that play style worked. He implemented it and copied it with a younger version in Cleveland. People thought, oh, he's just going home. He's doing all of that. No, he's not just going home. If that team wasn't at home, if that team was in Minnesota, he will be in Minnesota. He went home because they finessed it. They had the number 1 pick. Everything just lined up perfectly. Let's trade the number 1 pick for a Caleb who can implement what Bosh is doing. Perfect. Kyrie is a better even version of Wade in terms of skill set. He's not just slashing, but he's playing that Wade, shot creator, clutch, get a bucket, spot up, random cut here, but even adjusted it a bit because it's Kyrie. Here, I could actually give you the ball and I could go off the ball a bit, but you're gonna get a bucket. And LeBron actually spotted up a little bit more when he was with Kyrie because Kyrie usage, they were kind of splitting. But it's the same blueprint. Wade, now we have Kyrie. Bosh, now we have K-Love. Everybody else fit in where you fit in, right? The Mike Miller, the Kyle Korver, like everything is, you implement that. So that's why he went to the finals for 8 straight years because it's the same 4-year in Heat. Switch it up, 4-year with the Cavs, same thing. No other team has the big 3. Obviously, it sounds like I'm diminishing. No, it's just explaining why a run like that could happen, an 8-year run like that could happen in 2 different teams because the roster is identical, basically. Just a flipped with a younger version while nobody in the East actually had a big 3. So now it's like we actually have the advantage in every series. No matter what our record is, no matter if we chilling. That's why you see them sometimes chilling. Bron rest, LeBron go to Miami, go, rebuild or whatever he did. And you know what I mean, man? It's like they could do whatever. It don't matter because when we get to the playoffs, we know what it is. So that blueprint is what LeBron followed, where he's ball dominant. So now when he got to the Lakers, obviously what happens? Lonzo's now spotting up more. Ingram, who was ball handling, now becomes a spot up more. The one who thrived the most was Kuzma because he was already playing off the ball with Lonzo. That's how he got to even have his name. He had to play off the ball. And his skill set wasn't really ball handling like that. He could, but he had to play off the ball, mesh with Lonzo and whatever. That summer league, killing. But Ingram, ball handle. That's what he be doing, ISOing. Lonzo has no problem giving it up, but you know what I mean? He wasn't really the shooter that he is now. So Lonzo looked weak. Ingram looked weak. But when they left LeBron, what happened? Lonzo now is splashing and he looks a complete different player. Ingram becomes an all-star, right? This is what people don't see and they don't understand. When you have it alongside a play style clash, you look like a shell of yourself because you're spotted up. You're playing a role you don't ever play. Your rhythm isn't built like that. You're not designed like that. Shot creators can't just be spot up guys. They can here and there, and that's what makes KD so different. He could be all of them, and it don't matter. His rhythm never changes, and so it comes full circle. So now with LeBron being with the Lakers, a play style clash happened when now you inserted Russell Westbrook, who's always been having a high usage, and that's why I'm like, this shit is not going to work. The only way it works is if actually LeBron goes back to a similar version of the first Cavs, And he was doing shot creating, and he actually was like not just going to the paint all the time, which is why he did look great individually. But it was still coming off of him bringing up the ball down the court. It wasn't like Westbrook is setting him up. Westbrook was actually slashing, playing off the ball, and people were saying, "Well, so Westbrook has to become a." I'm like, no, that's not Russell's game. Russ's game is not. He can't just transition to a Wade. Wade has always played off the ball and then will play on the ball whenever the point, you know what I mean? But he's okay playing off the ball. That's why he can always have to do those random cuts. Like, cutting is a skill set. When do you cut? Timing, everything. Which is why him and LeBron, those, you know what I mean? They thrive together. Like, off the ball is a skill set. You know what I'm saying? So, if you look at it, Russ, in all his situations, Harden even had to adjust when he played with the Rockets to play off the ball because Russ, that's why they even like, yo, get Capella out of here. Let's go small ball and let Russ have the ball, and the center's going to guard him, and he can run downhill and dime to you shooters. Harden actually sacrificed more because in order for us to do good, Russ has to have the ball. Same thing with Washington. Beal sacrificed more. I'm going to play off the ball because I have the skill set. Let Russ run downhill. And then they turned up and end up making the play and everything. So, like, this is what you have to understand. Like, Russ needs to have the ball in his hands. And if LeBron's the better shooter, if LeBron's the more skilled player, his skill set determines that I have to play off the ball. That's how we thrive. AD off the ball, that's how we thrive. But, again, this is why I knew it was not going to happen because LeBron hasn't played off the ball for God knows since, like I said, the first Cleveland stint. You are who you are at this point. And the whole battle of LeBron has to play on the ball because he has to pass Kareem. When you play off the ball, you sacrifice some games. You might just get 15. Like there's your usage determines the game dictates how you score, which is why people get mad that KD don't be scoring 70 or 60 because his ability, he should have that by now. But he plays within the game. He lets the game flow. That's why he's so efficient. Like it's not forced. Even when it feels forced, the game has forced that because of how the defense is playing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, he just lets the game flow. The game flow. When Kyrie's going off, he's there having 15. He don't care, yo. Like, and that's what people don't understand. And when LeBron is at this point in his career where he can't afford that because he only has a certain amount of time left. And he has, rightfully so. It's not that it's a knock. Well, it's obviously it looks like a knock, but it's not like, at this point, rings isn't the most important thing. It shouldn't be. He has 4 rings, right? 4 rings, 6 losses, 10 finals. He has 4 rings. His legacy is solidified. At this point, to solidify his legacy even more, he's playing the longevity game. He's not playing I went to the finals, I won 4 finals out of. He already lost that battle. He has to play the longevity game. Flawless in longevity, in a long term, when you sit back and look at it overall, that's what he has to play. And so in order to play that, I have to be number 1. I have to beat Kareem in points. I have to be, you know what I mean? And only way to do that, or the best way to do that, to guarantee that, is to have the ball and have a high usage, and I dictate and I be more selfish when I could easily play off the ball, and the team will do better if Russell Westbrook plays on the ball. And that's where now there's an in-depth conversation we could really have. And this is why I really don't think that experiment, I know they're trying to do it again, Darvin Ham, a new coach, and I understand that, like, a new coach can kind of control the egos and, you know, what are you talking about? You gonna sit, fam. Like, he's gonna be more broad. Like, he's a player, you know what I'm saying? He you know, he's one of them from the old school where it's like you had to make it here, you have to be ruthless. So he don't matter what your name is. Like, he's more closer to Popovich in terms of I'm a cuss you, don't matter who you is. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's more along that. So you understand that that's still gonna do wonders, which is why they even went to go get Pat Bev. Let's get other players around who gonna talk. You know what I mean? They gonna talk. They're gonna tell you something too. Hold you accountable. Not just me. The players will too. And you're gonna have that around. So we understand that. But at the end of the day, is the clash going to work or not? You can't avoid that. That's the elephant in the room. And that's where it's like, even though they made some changes in the roster, I think the roster is even worse, but better because now there's guys are kind of, this is your role player, your role player, your role player, your role player. It's the big 3. And there's no clashes, no, You're trying to, there's no THT trying to come through here. There's no, not that they're bad, but it's just like you have multiple guys trying to be like, make a statement. It was similar to the Clippers when they had their problems, right? Too many cooks in the kitchen, basically. Not that many cooks are going to be, I can cook. You're cooking it wrong. You know what I mean? Like, you have to have some guys who are lower tier that understand, okay, he's the head chef. Even though I could cook too, though, I can't cook on his level, so I'm a chill out, and what do you want from me? You want me to spot up? All right, if I get it, and I have to ISO, I'm ISO, though. You know what I'm saying? And one, it's like, it's, you know what I mean? That's what we're talking about. And so with AD coming back and fully healthy, with LeBron obviously coming back, he had injuries as well too. You have Westbrook coming. Well, he was not injured, but he's more. He's trying to have a revenge season, have some resurgence. You know what I'm saying? And contract year as well too. He's not done. So he's obviously gonna try and play his best. He kind of knows what it is. He kind of knows. That's why you see him in his workouts. He's working on threes. He's working on pull-ups. He's working on certain things that he knows he has to be more efficient, more elite, and bring back those skills. Because to play with this team, I have to thrive in those abilities. So when you look at it from that perspective, I can kind of see what he's trying to transition to, work on my off-ball game. That's why you see him. You can just see, if you have the eyes with the trained eye, you can see, not just, don't look at just the makes and the dunks. You can kind of see where the spots that he's kind of cutting from, working from, passing, relocate. Like, the things he's doing can kind of translate to what he's going to have to play with, playing with LeBron, obviously, who's going to have the ball for the most part. But again, maybe Darvin Ham says, yo, LeBron play off the ball, and he doesn't care about that Kareem shit. That, to me, is, I have to see it before I could believe it. So I could assume LeBron's still he's gonna split the usage, but he's gonna have it majority of the times. So I still don't know if Russ could thrive in that role. If he does, he definitely snapped and worked on his shit this season, which is why, he was working with Oladipo, and they're in similar situations. I have to play off the ball. I'm not gonna just have the ball all the time. So they're working on similar things, which is why they're working together. And I could see maybe if it does work, Russell Westbrook just flipped the script individually and improved his off-ball game, so it works with LeBron. But that's something like, that's just never been Russ's game. So for him to do that, that means he really put in work this offseason. And it's not impossible. So I don't want to say that, like, that shit not going to work guaranteed. But if I had to put a percentage, or if I just had to put, like, whether it's likely, that's very unlikely for that to thrive the whole season. Like, this is 82 games. Not only that, to thrive versus elite teams in your conference, right? That's what I'm talking about. Like, who are you playing? Maybe versus some bad teams that might thrive, right? But when you're playing smarter teams who are going to sag off Westbrook and dare him to shoot it, when you're playing teams like that, the Nuggets are going to be fully healthy, right? You have, like, teams that weren't fully healthy. Y'all struggled to teams that weren't even fully healthy. The Clippers weren't even fully healthy, and they were whooping that ass. You know what I'm saying? Like, they fully healthy now. Like, come on now. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we really doing? So you don't have, and not only that, this season, like, even the lower tier teams, they good. They could beat you. Houston, they could beat you. You know what I'm saying? Like, the NBA is so talented now that OKC can beat you. You got Shea, you got Dort improving, you got, Giddey. You imagine they had Chet, but you have that OKC team is talented. They could be hot. Like, the skill in this NBA with threes, like, any man could just be hot. Like, you could lose to anybody, yo. It's not back then where it's like, man's just ass you ass. That team that's 1 in 50 could beat you because they still have everybody has skilled players, regardless. They have to mesh, and they're young and intangibles and whatever, but, like, if they hot, though, all that intangible shit don't mean nothing. You can have the perfect intangible, but man, just if what you scouted, sag off that guy, boom, boom, and man's just hidden, that shit don't mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? So, like, that's where it's like, we have to see it. We have to see it. I still think that if I had to guess, if I had to just use IQ, that's what I do. I'm not saying it won't work, like I said, or it can't work, or it's impossible, but the likelihood of that happening is definitely very, very small. I don't know if they will trade him, because not that his trade value has decreased because of the season he's played, because of the narrative and all of that. um, which I think is false because I know if he goes to a good situation where there's no playstyle clash, the value, which his Russ's trade value goes back again. It's just you're looking at him in this particular situation, so you can't use that and be like he's going to be the same Russ in this situation. Like this perfect example of what you're going to see with Ben Simmons. Ben Simmons is not going to be the Ben Simmons you saw. People are going to be in for a rude awakening. He's going to kill. I'm telling you, yo. I can smell it from a mile away because he has shooters around him. And it's not that he hasn't played with a big who's the paint dominant. He had his best playoff game with Greg Monroe. And Greg Monroe's not sitting at 3-point line. He was in the damn paint. The difference is the guy who's in the paint, hugging the paint, I still have the ball in my hand. So I could run handoffs. I could do whatever. But Embiid is not just paint dominant because he could shoot. But Embiid, when he has to score, he's not spotting up. He has to have the ball on ISOs. So that takes the ball away from my hand. That's a big factor to why Ben Simmons was in the dunker spot. Kyrie could cook without having the ball. KD could cook without having the ball. Curry could cook without having the ball. Joe Harris can cook without having the ball. Patty Mills can cook without having the ball. The list goes on. So Ben Simmons could have the ball and run handoffs, and these guys could one dribble pull off the handoff. Like, they could cook. Ben Simmons could fake the handoff, run down, punch. Like, it's the same thing with Draymond playing with the Warriors. Clay could cook without having the ball. Curry could cook without having the ball. Poole. The list goes on. That's why Draymond, even though he's not scoring, he could just assist. He could dime. He could do whatever. He could actually go do layups, but he passes it up because I want the three. Draymond, why you pass that shit? Because he's playmaking. And then Ben's even a better playmaker. You know what I'm saying? So, like, come on now. What are we talking about? So, that's just the point. The point is, Russ trade value, I don't think he's going to be traded because, again, a lot of people don't have the train eye that I'm speaking with. Maybe if you have a GM who has a hoop mind that can maybe trade for him and understand that it's going to be different. But then again, contract year, the money he's making, I just don't think that they could trade him because if they could trade him, they would have traded him. Especially put him in a package with maybe THT. The fact that you had to trade THT for less than what you would have got for maybe the Lowry and et cetera, for Pat Bev and all of that, it's just like, clearly you have nothing on the table for Russ. So he's not going to be traded. And let's say he even plays the same because of the playstyle clash, his value is going to even go worse than it was just because of the narrative. So it's not like you could trade him during the season. Like if Russ, if you have to play, it's delicate. You have to play it properly with the Lakers. If I was them, I would definitely put LeBron off the ball. And I could still have his usage high by just dumping to him in the post and have Russ cut in. And then from there you go. Right? You could still have high usage by playing off the ball, but like Russ bringing it up brings him, he just feels confident. He feels like he's himself. He does not lost out there. So now when he finally gets it, he's just trying to be over, he's just overcompensating. He's running down, like he's just panicking and he's just trying to run downhill. And then now he turns over the ball and he just makes bad decisions when he finally gets it in a transition situation. Where if he has it all the time, he's going to be more smarter. He's not just going to be looking at it as, oh, here's my opportunity, let's go. That's what he's doing. Like, you could just see it. Like, if you hoop, you could see it, yo. You could see it. This is why, like, it looks like he's just playing. Like, that's why he's just, when he gets it, it looks worse and worse and worse because he's just trying. He's just like, I have to do something, yo. So when I finally get in, I'm running like, and he's just going to try, and then now he's going up, damn, and he has to pass out, turnover. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit like that be happening. So, like, it's just a play style clash, and people don't understand that. So, when you look at it from that perspective, man, like, I think that they have to play this very smart before I end this video, man. They have to play it very smart. Like, you could find ways to have LeBron get his Kareem shit, have high usage, but still play off the ball. You could do that. You could very much do that. Right? That's how AD was even operating with LeBron. You could do that. That's how Kyrie was operating with LeBron. You could do it. You could find ways to do it. Right? And still have Russ feel comfortable. Because confidence and comfortability goes a long way. When you're comfortable, you become confident. The elite ones are confident even when they're not comfortable. But that's a different discussion. That's why I said KD is different. But again, for most players, when they're comfortable, then now the confidence comes after that. You have to be comfortable first. Rarely will you see, Or you like Russ, he's still going to be confident when he's not comfortable, and that's when you get mistakes happening because he's acting like he's not struggling, but his confidence is the same whether he's struggling or not, which is why you rate him. But when you want the true elite confidence, is really comes from when he's comfortable, and you need him to play in a proper play style. So I would play that delicately, and I would have him play on the ball and have LeBron play off the ball, AD play off the ball, but still have plays, obviously, to where they're still involved in their usage. Not like Russ is just ISOing, because Russ doesn't need to ISO. Russ could have 10 points. You've seen him have 15 assists, 15 rebounds, but he's having the ball all those times. He doesn't necessarily have to score. People forget that. People forget that he's played with a Harden, he's played with a Beal. Then when some games dictate he's going to have 30 and whatever, yeah. But for the most part, like, if he's just having the ball, he's going to make good decisions more than he's not if he's just comfortable having the ball. So I would lean more towards that way coming into training camp and coming into way just our system and our sets. I would lean towards that way. Like, that's going to be majority of how our sets are operated. But again, they're not going to do it that way. Or if Russ comes into training camp and he's a skilled shooter and all that off the ball and all he's been elite, then it could work that way. But that's not sustainable. Just from my eyes, like, I've never seen Russ do that. For him to do that now all of a sudden at this point in his career would be remarkable. Like, I'm not someone who's going to not want that to happen, because I like everybody mastering their craft. Like, that would be elite, because Russ, again, that's a weakness in his game, the off the ball. I'm just playing like that because he's never had to. So, or when he's had to, it's just his skill just doesn't match it. So he just doesn't do it. It just doesn't make sense for him to do it because he's the PG. So at this point in his career, if he transitions to that, he could prolong his career, because Chris Paul also had a moment of that. He had to play more off the ball when he was with Harden, and now you can see him thriving more with Devin Booker, and now his game prolonged, his money prolonged, everything prolonged, his career prolonged, right? Just because he transitioned to playing off the ball and doing both. He did it in OKC, he did it with Harden, now he's doing it with D-Book, right? So it's like, and Shea didn't get affected, like he did it with all these guys. So when you look at it, Russ could transition to that, but Chris Paul could always shoot, and you know what I mean? So it's easier for him to transition to that. So again, we'll see how this transpires. If I just had to put, like I said, I don't think that is gonna. I think the Lakers are gonna be maybe in a better version of what they were last year, but not too far off. Like, they're not gonna be too far off from what they were last year. Maybe they make the play-in. You know what I'm saying? But like, I'll be surprised if they're a 1, 2, 3, 4 seed, even a 6 seed. 7 through 10 is definitely, for me, is their ceiling with this roster. Unless they just don't play Russ. And now, even then, like, I just don't see it, yo. In the West, like, I just don't see it. I don't see it. And I've always, like, so that should just, I've had to guess that shit not happening, basically. So it's true talks. We'll see how it transpires, but I just think that they made a mistake again. The mistake was when LeBron signed off for getting Westbrook. I don't know why he did that. Maybe he just wanted a name. I don't know what was going on. What kind of fairy tale was sold. I don't know what happened, but like, Russ and LeBron should have never ever played together. At this point, when unless LeBron was willing to say, I'm going to go off the ball. If that conversation never happened, that should have never happened. That should have been never signed off on. They should have went for Buddy Hield. Like, this was a mistake. Sometimes it happens where people make mistakes and you're stuck in that mistake for 3, 4, whatever amount of years. And you suss like a team's window. At this point now, it's just LeBron doing his individual shit and seeing how long he could last till when his son can come and play with him. That's basically what it is. And unfortunately, AD's career is gonna he's gonna be on hold for that until that shit is done. Right? Russ is obviously gonna leave after the season, go somewhere else and go back to himself. Like, that's kind of how I see this trajectory, because them two should have never played together. They should have never played together. Russ is not a Wade. It's disrespectful to Wade. Russ is not a Wade. Russ is not posting up like that. Wade has a bag. Russ has a bag too when he was playing in OKC. but he's so far removed from that where he's downhill Russ as he pull up Russ from the midi, and that's about it. Attacking Russ, that's about it. Shoot threes here and there. Everything just drop. Free throws just drop like from time. If he was the OKC Russ, maybe this could have worked. He could have, like, he was posting and he was playing off the ball because Harden was having the ball, like he did that. But like, he's far removed from that. He's been the triple double Westbrook has not been the OKC Russ, and people have transitioned from LeBron transitioned from the first Cleveland stint. It's rarely do you see the guy at the beginning is the guy at the end. That's KD. That's even Paul George has transitioned, but he's still similar, right? Kawhi has transitioned, but he's still similar. He always plays off the ball. Like, it's not too often that you see guys like that. Kyrie has always, you know what I mean? Curry has always, Dame has always, CJ McCollum has always, you know what I'm saying? Like, guys like that, Clay has always, but it's not often that you see that from the Giannis's, the LeBrons. You can throw Zion in there as well, too. Like, these are guys who are going to need the ball, who are going to, like, the way they came in playing, when they get to that point in their career, they don't go back to the earth. Harden is also that, too. They don't go back to how they were more skilled, how they played with multiple people earlier in their career. Now they get to a point where they're dominant and they're like an MVP caliber. They're out of here playing this way. They're not going to go back to the other way. They can't. Which is why when Harden went to the Nets, he automatically said, I'm going to play point guard. I'm going to sacrifice my points. But I've always had the ball in my hand. I'm going to still do that. Kyrie, go be the shooter. You know what I'm saying? So, like, it is what it is, yo. Anyways, it's true talks. It's true talks. Share, like, and subscribe. We out here. There's no doubt here. There's no drought here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know. Again, tune in. The season is coming. Is around the corner. Training camp is around the corner. Media day is around the corner. You know what I'm saying? Again, share, like, and subscribe. Click that notification button so you know when I'm here. Because I'm here. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know. Follow, click the link below to follow my IG, my IG profile, my Twitter as well. All my, social media profiles. Again, share, like, subscribe, spread the word, tell a friend, to tell a friend, to tell a friend. You feel me? I appreciate y'all. You already know. And just as I'm talking about it, we have breaking news. So I get new information live while I'm recording. Breaking news that the Lakers have signed Dennis Schroeder to a 1-year deal. And so clearly they're running it back just like he did. You know what I'm saying? The year after the bubble and all of that, obviously, right? So, it's just, when you look at it, it's unfortunate, but now this gives me more signs and more confirmation about everything that I've been saying, where basically it's that, you have it where if this Russ experiment may actually be over, whether they trade him or not. But depending how this year, he has a very small window, because now you have Pat Bev, you have Schroeder, and you have Russ. So obviously Russ will probably start out and all of that. That's why Darvin Ham has before even said, we're not opposed to. He's already talked to Russ about putting him on the bench and all of that type of stuff. But if this experiment literally doesn't go correct in the first 10, 15, 20 games, you may see Russ get benched, and you may see a starting lineup of Schroeder. You may see, obviously, Pat Bev and Schroeder split the PG position, and Russ just not play at all. So now it's not even to the point of, at least Russ had an insurance policy of, y'all can't even trade me, because obviously, even if you say my trade value is low, obviously it's no IQ, but because they see me play with LeBron, they view me as, this is who Russ now is and who he's become. His value is low. We don't want him, etc. Right? Even if that's the case, now people won't even want to trade for him, or not even that. Even if his trade value is low and there's nobody that wants to trade for him, now you have to play me because no one wants me. So it's in Russ's favor. Now they have an option where we don't even have to play you. Forget the trade. We don't even need to trade you. We could do a John Wall and just not play you, sit you out. We mutually agree that it's not working. Boom, we're not playing you. And now they could just go with Schroeder, because they've have evidence where with that exact same LeBron and AD, Schroeder was working. until injuries happen, where they lost obviously versus the Suns in the first round in 2021. But Schroeder was definitely working, right? He has defense. He had like it was definitely working. Then you have the Pat Bev situation. Schroeder can shoot, so he can play more off the ball with LeBron. LeBron can still be the LeBron he's been. So it's not a play style clash. Obviously, at times it may be, but not really. So now the fact that they just made that signing, it's more evidence that I don't think that they're gonna actually switch it where it has to work with Russ. So we can actually play Russ at the one, have him have the usage, and LeBron, you play off the ball. No, they really have it where LeBron is LeBron. LeBron is obviously it's not changing. He's gonna play the ball, all of that. That's why Russ is clearly working on his game off the ball. He's working on his catch and shoot situations, his hezzy pull up. He's working on off the ball scenarios, cut in, all of that you've seen him working on. And if that doesn't thrive, if that doesn't work, and that's only a 2-game, it works for 2 games, doesn't work for 5 games, works for 1 game, doesn't work for 6 games. If that's how it's going, we gonna insert Schroeder in the starting lineup, and Russ, you're just not gonna get minutes, and they're gonna weed him out, and it's gonna be a John Wall situation with the Rockets. So clearly they have another backup option in case this doesn't work, and that clearly just shows me that they're not gonna change the LeBron playing off the like that was just me talking in what it should be, but they're not gonna do that. LeBron is LeBron. We want him to stay here. He has all the cachet. Genie Bus came out and said it. They want him to retire here. They probably want Bronny here. Whatever the case is, we want him to have him beat Kareem here. So this is the way we're gonna play. But we could win that way because we did it with Schroeder. We did it with Rondo. So Russ, if it ain't working, if you didn't figure it out off the season and work on your game, boom. Deuces, Schroeder's here now. That's clearly what they're going to do. I may be wrong. Remember, this is all speculation. This is just reading the tea leaves and reading what's going on and just seeing things transpire, seeing his offseason workout. He could have worked on passing. He could have worked on all those things. Nope. He worked on off-the-ball scenario with Oladipo, who are both in the same shoes where they have to kill off the ball. Now you have the Schroeder picking up, signing. Clearly, what just happened currently. Right now, it just happened. So, that just gives me insight to what's going on. Darvin Ham also said we talked to Russ that if we have to sit him, we have to sit him. So everything has been planted. Clearly behind the scenes, they let him know like, yo, you just have to get better in that role. If you can't do that, hey, they might not have told him, but this signing has told him. And he has known. That's why he worked on off the ball. So clearly, you know what I mean? We'll see how things transpire, yo. We'll see how it transpires. That was just breaking news just to come out at the end. Because right after I was done recording, this just came out. So all of that shit that I was saying before clearly is irrelevant because this is what it's gonna be. They showed their colors, they showed their hand by just doing this signing. You sign a point guard, you have Pat Bev, like you have 2 insurance policies, but if Russ doesn't, guys who could shoot, who can spot up, they can play defense. LeBron still doing his thing, still running the ball, and if it doesn't go right, those guys get inserted. We have a dynamic with LeBron, AD, and everything else second. So that's what it is, yo. So we'll see, man. Honestly, this just gave confirmation that Russ experience, if Russ doesn't, and it's sad to put him in that situation because he could clearly kill if LeBron plays off the ball. But to put him in that situation that you have to make it work this way, they put him in that situation. He's gonna have a small window, and if he can't get it done, and he can't hit shots without rhythm, it don't matter. If he can't get it done and play elite in that role, we have guys who can. Kendrick Nunn is there as well too. Like they have options. So clearly, that's the route they're going, and it may be that Russ might have to next year free agency go to somewhere and have a John Wall situation like he's having with the Clippers and kind of have a resurgence. So we'll see. It's not over for Russ, but he has a small window where it's over for Russ with the Lakers. That experience may be short-lived this season, whether he's traded or not. He don't have to be. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Now I'm really out. You already know. And I'm out, man.